what do I need to do? And how am I going to actually do it? Well, what do you expect's going to happen? You'll never pull the trigger. INFPs are subject to damage probably more than any other type. They're going to feel the weight of shit strongly. They feel the weight of every loss. They're going to feel the weight of every shortness. They're going to understand the significance of what they have and also what they don't have. And it's going to be hard for them to let go of things and all sorts of stuff like that. Any damage done to you by people you trust or love or value or biologically significant, like your parents, if you're an INFP, is going to be internalized. It's going to be felt at full weight, and it's going to be something that they carry with them most or much of the time. As somebody who's FI polar, I'm very accustomed to being able to distract myself away from my emotions, even when things are bad, when things are rough. After we did a big fight, I just sort of distracted myself away from emotions for a little while and kind of forget about them. That's not possible for INFPs, and it's not really possible for ISFPs. As a consequence, they are necessarily going to be very cautious as they move through life in terms of making firm choices about relationship stuff. They have a problem with following through or doing or pulling the trigger or being opportunistic or anything that requires them to act, especially if that action is in keeping with a framework, right? They got fourth slot TE, so they can plan a little bit, but they really rather have somebody else do that. And it makes it tough for you to feel as though any choice is a good choice if it changes the status quo in ways that cost you things to which you have some sort of emotional attachment. No matter how much brighter it might look on the other side of it, you never get to shed that weight. It sticks with you forever, and you've already got so much of it. You're swimming around in pain that you can't ignore because you're an INFP. And all you can do is ideate about possible ways this pain might go away, possible ways that situations might develop that would affect you emotionally, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then never really take the action to manifest it. Looking at INFPs for a healing protocol, quote unquote, well, I don't have a lot of really great suggestions or anything here, but I would say number one, they need to create stuff. It needs to create. They need to make stuff that is an expression of self or an expression of what they observe or an expression of possibility or some sort of expression that takes the self and renders it into a time object, a piece of media that has an identity and is existent in the world outside of the self. A failure to understand by INFP that not making a decision is making a decision. The thing is, INFPs have to create as much as you can. I'd say, when in doubt, use your TI. I believe INFPs to actually be possibly the smartest type. There's something about them that they've got excellent TI, though they don't use it when it matters. But INFPs, use the TI when you can. It's better, way better than you think. And way more useful than you think, more importantly. It's much more useful than you think. Seeking out an objective third party to do the distributive calculus on your behalf is a valuable way to get a clearer understanding of things. Ultimately, INFP, your realization is attained through extroverted sensing, your polar function. Do what you got to do is the thing. Do what you got to do. Make the hard choice sometimes, even though it's going to be painful. The one thing we can do for ourselves, really, is to make the future better than the present. And that's about it. If we don't, we're cashing in our later years for our present habits. You don't want to waste a decade plus drunk or 2 decades having problems like that. There'll always be a certain amount of bittersweet emotions and things, and that your emotions can't be predicted entirely how you're going to feel about this choice. At the end of the day, if you want to make progress, you got to step back. You got to go, okay, time for me to be accountable. What can I find that is my fault? You're much better off pulling the trigger and saying, I refuse to sell my interest in the future. It's the entirety of me yet to come. It's my only one and only life opportunity. I'm not going to fucking waste it. What do I need to do? And how am I going to actually do it? Pull the trigger.